welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, we'll be covering part 18 to the longest running story in this channel, which is titled, While Wife Thought Her Affair Was Going Unnoticed, Husband Was Playing the Long Game Preparing for War. And guys, as a brief recap to the last couple episodes, because that's important for today's update here. That in the last couple episodes, the guy met with Emily. With the lawyers, finalized all the paperwork, all that, he's free. However, he's not free from the damage she did to him. And in that update, she read in the lawyer's office a confession to help her with her therapy of all the dirty deeds she was doing behind the scenes. And it was so bad, he ran out of there and threw up in the trash can. It messed him up. Well, here we are now. It's been about 3 weeks since all that went down. And just like a lot of people who go through a tough breakup or divorce, he's obviously looking back at everything. And even with his own sense of humor, which is a very good one, is obviously, missing the good things he had in his marriage. And, well, all it takes is him remembering her confession, and, you're going to see how he handles it. So that'd be going to go over here. And don't worry, our guy isn't doing anything stupid. But it's interesting and entertaining, his thoughts and how he's handling this type of thing, which I definitely think you guys would appreciate. So he continues on. He says, well, on June 10th was our wedding anniversary, my last wedding anniversary. I had some drinks with my friends, not to the point of throwing up, just enough to invoke dark specter nostalgia, my greatest enemy at this point in my life. I missed Emily so badly, it felt like I was drowning. I kept thinking about the good memories, like how she'd laugh at my stupid jokes, the way she'd curl up next to me while I was reading, and her excitement when she had some kind of triumph at work. Smack! Wake up, dude. Remember everything she did wrong. You're looking through the past with rose-colored glasses. You're remembering what you thought she was of her. My brain started doing that thing where it minimizes the bad stuff and amplifies the good stuff, hence the rose-colored glasses. Maybe the affair wasn't as bad as I remembered. Maybe I was being too harsh. Maybe she really did love me and just made a terrible mistake. Smack! Again, wake up. Now, don't worry, guys. He's not simping here. He's doing what a lot of people do. So rather than break no contact, I went to her confession and tore into it. I figured that would be the cure, and yep, that was the fix. I'm all fixed now. Within 10 minutes, all that nostalgic bullshit evaporated like a fart in a hurricane. Well, that'll do it. That's why you keep those things. That's why you have to always look back and remember the bad shit when you start missing the good things. This is normal. But by the way, guys, we're not going to hear... He's going to get more into details about her confession that he didn't reveal the first time around. I won't go into the details because of it's like PORN. But yeah, the stuff she said before I ran out was maybe a quarter of it. They did it mainly at hotels and a few times at John's office. They pretty much did everything except for the backdoor stuff. Emily didn't want to do the prep work for that. So in other words, it wasn't she didn't want to do the Hershey Highway stuff. She didn't want to prepare for her journey down the Hershey Highway. And that's just what she's saying. She had fun in the beginning, but the guilt and the fact that John really couldn't give a fuck about her enjoyment meant she was ultimately unsatisfied. Oh, poor her. The lifestyle perks were what mainly motivated her, with the shopping and Michelin star restaurants making up for it, in addition to her keeping her two stylists paid and her business afloat. Yeah, she wasn't getting everything she needed in the bedroom, but you know what? The Michelin star restaurants and the shopping sprees, that made up for it. Shocker. And again, guys, you're getting more details of what was going on here. When she felt guilty about being with John, she'd come home and be extra affectionate with me. She'd initiate SCX more often, buy me little gifts, suggest date nights, tell me how much she loved me and how great I was. She cooked my favorite meals and suggest we watch movies together. It's got to tear him apart knowing that all that was bullshit. The love bombing just so this guy wouldn't be suspicious. She wrote that being sweet to me made her feel less guilty about what she was doing, like she was balancing the scale somehow. Every time I thought things were really good between us during those 9 months, it was just because she just effed another man and was trying to manage her conscience. Again, it was all about her. A little background you may have missed in my comments on my earlier post is that John and his wife and two youngest kids attended my father-in-law and mother-in-law's 4th of July party last year. Oh my God. They have a piece of land out in the country where they can shoot off fireworks without getting the law involved. There's a concrete foundation there of a house that used to be on the property that they use as a launch pad. They rent a porta potty and bring out the barbecue and cook hamburgers and hot dogs, plus a cooler of drinks. It's actually a pretty big event, 50 plus people. I had no idea if they were doing this year. It was fun to go, though. Yet another thing I'll miss about my old life. Well, that sounds like an awesome party, man. Barbecuing all day, fireworks, you have a big property, nobody's around, you can do what you want. That's awesome. That's how I grew up out in the country, the majority of my life in Pennsylvania. But they invited that jerk off and his family. Emily had said in her confession that she felt it was pretty effed up that John and his family were there. My former father-in-law invited them because he was aware how much John helped Emily with her small business. Oh, he was helping her with business, but a different type of business. She didn't think he would come and didn't want to throw up any alarms by blocking them with the father-in-law. She felt guilty seeing his wife and kids, so that was the first time she decided to end it. Yeah, you can really tell Emily has such a big conscience and felt so guilty with everything. And how did she decide to end it all? By stopping her birth control. What? She figured that John had a vasectomy, so she couldn't get pregnant by him because he would lie about it, right? So the reason she was increasing the sex with me, at least after the 4th of July in 2024, was not only guilt, but to get pregnant with my baby and use it as a human shield to get rid of John. Because pregnant women aren't sexy. I'm not shitting you guys. That was in her confession. She actually wrote pregnant women aren't sexy. Well, there are guys out there, to each their own, that have a thing for pregnant women. Yeah, no thanks, but it's amazing what people are into. But anyhow, so she's trying to baby trap her husband here, so that way then if she's pregnant, then she can, not hook up with John. Are you freaking kidding me? She can just end it with him. She has enough, dirt on him. He says, Rule 34, Emily, Rule 34. At the time, I thought I was so lucky to have a beautiful wife who wanted me so much. Ha! What a sucker I was. So if her plan worked, I would be nice and baby trapped, and she'd be able to end it with John because pregnant lady body, and he'd find some other girl to desecrate his marriage with. Until Emily had the kid, lost the weight, and then be right back at it. But she did not get pregnant, thank God for that. She got more and more frustrated after each month. Her periods were very consistent, and so she timed it so that she was ovulating, and she avoided John as much as she could during those days. Sex between us was pretty frequent all the time, so I didn't notice any increase those days because I didn't keep track of that kind of thing. Because she kept not getting pregnant, she started obsessing that she was infertile or that I was infertile. Good God. Finding out all this crap later on. It's a good thing he kept that letter because anytime he was like he was in the beginning of this story, he was starting to miss what he thought was the good times. All it takes is refreshing all this, and he's like, no, hell no. Emily is a wacko. Anyway, New Year's Eve happened, and she decided that baby or no baby, she was ending it with John. So part of her anxiety and depression was due to not getting pregnant during that time and thinking that she has some kind of condition. So that got me obsessing that maybe my soldiers are pacifists rather than Marines. It was a tough sell telling my doctor that I need to know if my swimmers are capable of swimming because my cheating ex-wife couldn't get pregnant while using me as an unwitting sperm donor in her scheme to escape her affair. So, I had to repeat my story to him a couple times until he said, yeah, sure, go jack in a box and make a lab order for me. Because I'm a shy boy, I elected to drop off my sample rather than collect it on the premises. However, I later read in the instructions that I had to get to the clinic at my appointment time within 1 hour of collection, like some kind of precision military operation. In other words, guys, the code he's speaking here is this. In order to have his sperm tested to see whether he is infertile or not, he has to obviously, just like going to a sperm bank, do his business in a cup and have it taken to the lab within an hour. But he doesn't want to do it there in the freaking doctor's office because obviously he's not comfortable. Now look what he does to solve this problem. It's going to give you a laugh. Well, that might be stretching it where I live if there's traffic, so rather than being smart and changing my mind about going to the clinic for collection, I prevailed upon my friend Bob to use this place because he was within 20 minutes of the clinic. Oh, for God's sakes. Can you imagine that conversation to your buddy? Hey, Bob, can I stop by your house on Wednesday around 4 in the afternoon so I can freaking jerk off in a freaking box in your bathroom? Okay. Bob, anybody, of course, you do things for your bros, and you know this guy's going through a hard time. But guess what? Brothers have memories, and they're going to rag on him to the day he dies about this. Boy, that was awkward as fuck conversation. Bob was like, "Are you okay? You seem stupid." Bob wasn't home during that time because of course not. I had to balance my wee cup, a cup, and my smartphone pointing at some tasteful American porn, not a communist or circus animal in sight. I ended up lying on my side on the floor of Bob's master bedroom in front of the door because I'm not a sharpshooter. I'm a flamethrower, and I promised Bob I wouldn't use his bed because I'm not an a-hole. Oh, for God. Well, TMI, dude, but he's got a sense of humor. You did that in his bedroom on the floor? Couldn't you just go in the fucking bathroom, and just, have some sanitizer when you're done? You're never going to hear the end of this. Besides, Bob has a lady friend now, and like most bachelors, he doesn't clean or change his sheets on a regular basis. And next thing he says, I'm never going to live this down. I should have just rescheduled and just gone to the clinic. My buddies, Jim, Bob, and Mike, have ammo for years now. The bastards, goddammit, Emily. Yeah, man, you're going to be an old man, and if they're still alive, they're going to remember this. They won't remember what they had for lunch or what they had for breakfast, but they'll remember the time you asked Bob to go use his house so you can, in a freaking cup. That's just how guys are. Well, I got the results back today, and good news, my soldiers are fighters. Semper Fi. So guys, hide your eggs, ladies. I don't want you getting pregnant through the internet. That's pretty much the drama of my life right now. So that's his update. And again, nothing dramatic, but now he's now survived. He's now dealing with all this. He's now divorced. And this is the stuff he's going through. And I did this one because I know you guys, I was steady following it, want to know anything this guy's doing. So of course I'm doing this because a bunch of you guys sent me notification of this update here. But this is normal. Anybody that's been through a breakup or divorce, you're going to have moments when you start looking at the past through rose-colored glasses. You're going to remember the good things, the good feelings, and start questioning yourself. You can't do that. And so I'm glad this guy has a copy of her fucking confessional about everything she did and just take him out of that mindset, And, I'm glad to see that his swimmers are working and all that. But anyhow, he's just going to take things one day at a time. And we're on episode 18 here. I think I speculated by the end of the summer we're going to be on episode 25 or 26. I'm still waiting for it. I'm still waiting for his ex, Emily, to reach out to him in some capacity. Or he has his former in-laws reach out to him and tell him that, well, Emily has now been, I can't think of the word, admitted to the hospital because she did something really bad, a depression, trying to get him to come back. Remember, they have this money held in escrow, like $8,000, $10,000, something like that, that if she reaches out to him in any way, he gets that money. I think he's going to get that money. Now, a few comments from the peanut gallery before I wrap this up, because this guy, not only does he have a good support group here on my channel here, but also he does on Reddit. One guy says here, even with this confession, I have serious doubts Emily is being fully truthful even now. My gut tells me that the S-word encounters started before she's admitting. She's great at compartmentalizing, so in her mind, she may rationalize an affair means penetration only. She's already admitted in therapy that she's secretly been taking money from John since 2022 to keep her business afloat. Now we get confirmation that she effed him not just in a hotel. They weren't as discreet as they claimed. There's no way I believe that the inappropriate behavior suddenly just started when she was given the infamous credit card. At the very least, there was probably flirting, kissing, S-word contact of some kind dating a while back. And I also don't believe that this dude John was her first rodeo. Another guy says here, I just want to chime in and thank you for using your gift of writing and humor to share your story with the world. I'm sure I'm not the only one who's been seeing a disturbing amount of similarity between my own experience and yours. So sometimes it does help to think that at least I don't have it quite as bad. Yeah, people like these stories because A, it makes them feel not so alone and know that this type of thing happens to other guys, or they like it because, okay, well, my life sucks, but this dude's life really fucking sucks, and they feel better about that. It is what it is. He also says, as for this episode, it sounds like my therapist was right when she said that you'd be amazed what seemingly normal, good people are capable of doing to those they claim to love. There was a time when I wanted, even demanded, an end to the trickle truth and to just get it out all at once. But now I'm glad my ex never agreed to that. I get the impression that somehow the truth is even worse than my wildest imagination, and maybe it's better to not know. At least I won't be traumatized. I won't be traumatizing my friends like you did your buddy Bob. Add one more. This guy says, her selfishness and manipulation tactics are beyond evil to me. Truly, what Emily did to you should be considered a crime. What is crazy to me is she stopped liking John as much because he was selfish and manipulative. Oh, the irony. Anyway, right? Pot calling the kettle black. They both are narcissists. John seems like a sociopath as well. It doesn't seem like it now, but I believe God was protecting you. There's a purpose in this pain. Not getting pregnant usually takes 6 months to a year. A couple isn't considered having fertility issues until after a full year has passed by. Emily seems like she gets what she wants no matter what and when she wants it. God was using her inability to get pregnant as a teachable moment about patience, about honesty, amongst other aspects. Can you imagine a child being born out of lies and manipulation, being used as a tool of deception? That is sick. Well, sadly, plenty of children are born in that situation. Yeah, maybe God was looking out for our guy here by Emily not getting pregnant. God was probably like, whatever the hell his name is, you've been through enough. Okay, I'm not going to make her get pregnant, But I bet you Emily's going to get pregnant with somebody else pretty soon. He finally says here, Emily's missing the point in her Christian walk of faith. She still is being selfish and manipulative with that deal that they threw at you. She needs to love you enough to let you go fully. Sue needs to recognize the fact that you deserve better than her. I believe people can reform and transform through Christ, but it doesn't erase their sin and hurt it caused others. She doesn't get to use God as a get-out-of-jail-free card. She's very immature. Well, she's also very divorced, and all her tricks and tactics couldn't get this guy back. So anyhow, guys, that's the update here. More about the details about her little her affair and all that, and our guys taking it one day at a time. It's going to be a roller coaster. But probably in a few weeks, there'll be another update here. And if you guys see it, let me know. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And guys, you find a good story, definitely send it my way. strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. And if it's a really good one, I'll definitely cover it. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.